Hey guys, in this video, I'm gonna cover a couple of topics about how is it to be a serial entrepreneur. It's quite trendy nowadays to focus on one venture and yet don't lift your head up until you have some success, right? Keep heads down, keep working, keep focusing on one thing. I think that's incredibly detrimental. The human brain is not made like for being good in one thing. You'll really suck at life if you're like good at one thing. So you need to have multiple tools and sort of become a polymath to have good success in life, aka being happy, aka reaching your goals, aka scaling and every day becoming a better version of yourself, which is probably the main reason why I'm a serial entrepreneur. Some would point to my quote unquote ADHD, which is pretty much a thing of the past now that I meditate and so forth. So, um, being a serial entrepreneur is also very profitable because you can cross pollinate across one business to the other. For example, if I have this cold email outreach agency, well, heck, I'll be very good at cold email. And then my podcasting agency, we will also be very good at cold emailing guests to get people on the podcast, right? So I think it's important to be good at many things. Also, I do advise entrepreneurs nowadays to not outsource skills to their team. I recommend them to nurture these skills internally and amplify them through AIs, right? So, as an entrepreneur, you need to be curious, you need to be constantly looking for new technologies and so forth. And eventually, you can cross pollinate and exponentially grow your businesses. So, it's not something linear, right? And I think most people telling you to focus, like Alex Hormozy, are sort of hypocrites, right? Because this guy, he's investing in a portfolio of multiple businesses and he's checking various ventures on a daily basis, doing various activities like content, then sales, then like filming a video, then writing a sales letter. So, yeah, focus is bullshit. And the best people that I know on this planet Earth, people that seems to be happy and that seems to have the money and so forth, they are serial entrepreneurs, right? They're not people that sold their souls to go into one venture and like get filthy rich and not know what to do with their money, getting sued later on. So it's just the way to go. It is scientific, it is artistic to be a serial entrepreneur, and I do believe it's the best life ever. So what inspired me to become a serial entrepreneur? I guess the first question here. Um, I guess, I have this theory. I was really good at video games, World of Warcraft. I was the best level 70 PvP Beast Mastery Hunter on my server, Whisperwind. That was in 2005-ish or something like that, maybe 2007, 9-ish. But I used to be pretty bad at World of Warcraft. So my brother bought the game. We already had some Diablo 3 or 2 experience, right, in these types of games. And my brother, he would level up like this guy of his. I think he chose like a rogue. Oh no, he chose a druid. A druid, and he leveled up. He was like level 27, 35, and I on my side, I was like always maxing out at level 10. At level 10, I would stop and get bored and not want to play more that class. I would just start and create another class, right? But that strategy in itself was incredible because by doing that, I could try out all the classes and see their skills and so forth. So my brother, while he was leveling, I was just like choosing my path, right? And I think that choosing your path is certainly not like done in college by this person that orients you to a career, like they're pretty terrible. I was supposed to be a lawyer. Um, then I went into drop shipping, quote unquote. Then I went into a realtor ads agency. And even to this day, I'm still A/B testing, and I'm trying a bunch of things. I have my fitness channel. I'm about to start a cooking channel. I have various businesses, various agencies, various SaaS in the AI space. And what happened in the World of Warcraft is that I ended up like choosing my class, right, which was Hunter and Beast Mastery, was really odd specialty, right? Because most would go marksman for high damage, but me, I would enrage my beast, and then I would enrage myself, and then I would pound everyone like in 3 seconds. If you were a mage or rogue in front of me, probably like 3 seconds to down you, and then if you were a warrior, probably 10. If you were lucky, and that was like people with epic gear. So I chose this really odd class because I A/B tested so much at first. So the lesson here is that if you want to make it big, and if you want to really find your niche, find your ikigai, sort of, you need to test out many things. So it came naturally to me that I would try out this thesis, right? So if you think I'm testing and I'm wild today, like, you should have checked me back then. I mean, I launched a smart glass company, then a social app, um, while I was drop shipping, while I was running my marketing agency, while I was having my nootropic company. So it was pretty wild. And I would work probably like 17, 18 hours a day, like grind nonstop. I was an exchange student in Hong Kong. I would go to bed at like 5 a.m. and would do this poly sleep schedule. I forgot the name, but it was like sleep 5 hours, then have a 1 hour nap or something like that. So that was like a wild and a time of my life in which I shaped myself, So it came naturally to me. A/B testing is essential to get what you want in life, whether that's happiness, whether that's cash, whether that's connection or power. So being a serial entrepreneur really came natural to me. My biggest success, I guess, was, yeah, I think agencies have always been a big success for me. Why? Because you just charge for your time and energy, but don't think that this time and energy is wasted, right? Because you experiment and then you can deploy these experiments on your own businesses, which is the genius behind agencies. So for example, fresh out the gates, when I left my first partner to go on my own with my own agency, because I knew I had the talent, the skills, and he would only be like a heavy backpack on me. I closed a realtor deal for like 4K about 2 to 3 months in, and that was like building a website. So 4K being solo, I had a couple of employees from Pakistan and India back then. That was like instant profitability, right? So that was the biggest success. SaaS, most of the time, especially in these days, we're talking about almost 10 years ago, it was so hard to get off the ground. You really needed some old schmucks funding, right? So I think agency, everyone should go after these business model. If you're starting in business, launching your own agency is probably the smartest thing you can do. It'll provide you with cash, with experience, with referrals, right? So anyone can do that. Sell your time, sell your expertise. Big failures, yeah, like the realtor agency failure. I often talk about that one. It was just not the right ICP, not the right client for me. Like, if you're gonna go in business, try to target people you want to be like. So me, I very much value, for example, serial entrepreneurs that are funded. Oddly enough, we can talk about the contradiction here. That are growing, right? So their business is growing in headcount. Another contradiction, because I don't believe much in employees, but I do. It's a strong indicator that their business is growing, right? That do value more than just business, so that have a heart, that do value podcasting, that do value traveling. So I have a list of like 30 elements that I value in a founder, and that constitutes my ICP, my ideal customer persona, as the people I want to be with. Most of my clients, I'm learning from them. Some of them, yeah, very small minority are like idiots that I can't learn from. But yeah, that's like probably 1% ish. Back then, that was probably 75% of my clientele. So their only use was to pay me. And there's debates out there like passion vs profit. It's always a gray zone, guys. So people that will take one polarity, including me, we're just seeking like attention, right? Like, we're trying to hack your attention in one way, or trying to make a point. But in reality, it's always a gray zone. So it's passion and profit, right? If anything, I think it's more passion. I think because I think passion is profit, in my opinion. And yeah, basically these realtors, I couldn't learn much from them. They weren't really successful. Like some of them were arguing with me to pay 300 fucking bucks a month. Um, to have like a full Facebook ad service done to them, and that's in Canadian dollar, by the way. It's like that's 200 USD. So yeah, most of them I wasn't inspired by them. Most of them ended up not liking me, and vice versa. So I had to take this business down. That was a huge lesson for me. Um, and I don't have much other lesson than that. Like some people could say, like, "Oh, don't overscale the way you did. Don't hire that much employees." But no, I believe in growth. I don't regret much as well. I'm not like the type of guy that if I could return in time, I would change things. That one was painful. Uh, and also, maybe like one lesson on that one is that, yo, calm your nerves down, Like as a young entrepreneur, I would have loved to have this Charles right now tell him, like, yo, chill, calm down, they're fucking idiots and you're going to get through it. Um, yeah, realtors are not like real entrepreneurs. They think they are, but they're not. They're selling houses, they're selling, buying houses, helping people do so, and that's like simplicity in itself. And I am very surprised that AI hasn't replaced that. Yeah, it's just that bots cannot walk in house, right? That's the only moat. But yeah, like realtors is the dumbest job ever. It's like selling houses and promoting houses, right? So, and most of them do not do a good job. For example, the house that I have here is all about views, right? Like big windows and all that, and there wasn't a single picture showing the views, which is the core feature of the house. Then there's a balcony on the roof with another humongous view, not promoting it. They don't even know how to take pictures. Anyway, so that was pretty hard. I have learned from that, but if you're going through hardship in your business, know that it will pass, one, and second, chill, Like if you have good intentions, if you're doing everything in your power, you don't have any reason to stress. The next one here is balancing multiple ventures, strategies to balance your businesses effectively. So I talked about this, I think yesterday was a productivity contrarian post. I say go with the flow, like it's not the worst way to do things is like separate your time between multiple businesses on a daily basis. No, just go naturally with what is intriguing you right now and what feels natural, right? So for example, I'm huge into content nowadays. Well, that's my flow. That's where I want to go. So I won't like block time to put time on podcasterslist.com, which is a business of mine that sells lists. This one doesn't have much traction, right? So how my brain works is that if I see that one of my businesses has traction, if it gives me money, if it gives me lead, if it gives me something, I'm going to keep investing into it. Most of these businesses are experiments, like they're not cash flow generating business with employees and stuff. They're experiments. So that's how one should roll with having multiple business. Not, I used to block time in between my business. That never worked, Oh, spend time on your nootropic business here, do this there. Like forcing stuff on you, it's just like so unnatural. And what it does actually to a smart brain, it almost instantly starts demotivating it. So productivity experts can go to hell, like most of them don't know what they're talking about. Like, yeah, I've read all the books, like, and even this philosophy, it's for serial entrepreneurs, it's not for someone that is all about focus and deep work. So that is who I target with this advice. Building winning teams. I don't recommend hiring employees. That was probably my biggest mistake ever. Hiring like 200 to 1,000 employees over the years. That was hell, too complicated, too much drama. Humans, they complicate everything. So do not hire. Instead, create systems and create bots that will keep on generating revenue on these businesses. If you don't know how to do so, you can check my AI Outreach Masterclass. Taking calculated risk. Yeah, my process to calculate risk with a business is pretty broad, but I have so many sources of information. So read Audible, read Wikipedia. I constantly read LinkedIn for content and Twitter. I've interviewed 3,000 CEOs and founders. I have lots of sources of data. Plus, I always brainstorms with ChatGPT, right? So if I am bullish on an idea, so yesterday, for example, I said I was bullish on LinkedIn content agency. I justified why, the pros and the cons, an SEO GPT agency, and a SaaS reverse engineering agency. And these three agencies that I'm going to launch in the next couple of months, I'm going to test them out via a cold email campaign, and I'm going to see if they're successful or not. And that's how I'm going to determine if I'm going to put more time into them or if I'm going to kill these ventures. So it's quite a simple approach, and it's a non bullshit approach, right? Like some people would pay fucking um, what are they called? I gladfully forgot their name, PwC or these big four consulting firms to write a $1 million plan, bullshit plan, like about all these statistics and so forth. Nah, it just test it out in the real world, test it out in the real market, buy ads, send emails, reach out on LinkedIn. I also have a list of like 30 criteria that I use that you can go check on my newsletter. Uh, I also have it in my new ebook that I launched. So yeah, I filter every single businesses through these lens. And one of the criterias is being an agency, right? So these three business ideas that I just named, they are agencies. Agencies are really low risk, and they're testing machine, they're experimental machines. So you need to be sort of a mad scientist to constantly launch businesses, get feedback, get insights, and launch some more and put some down. I kill a bunch of my businesses on a yearly basis, probably 50%, if not 75%, do not make it. So yeah, that is my test. If I get money from these agencies, obviously I'm going to spend more time, right? You need to have a very deep relationship and understanding of a market, which is a very complicated creature, by the way. Spotting business trends, I think I touched on that. I interview podcast guests. GPT is like not that good on trends. I would find most of these on Twitter, I guess, and listening to other podcasts. Like My First Million's a good one. Am I bullish on trends? Generally speaking, not that much. Like being an early adopter is not that interesting because you need to wait for a while before you get money. And most get demotivated in the 6 to 12 to 24 months period to have their startup stick, right, and hit product market fit. So, for example, the LinkedIn content agency that I have in mind, people have been doing that for the past 5 to 10 years, like most intensively in the last 3 years. So why am I getting up in this market? Well, for many reasons, right? Like some of these gurus, they're full of shit and they have like interactive circles. So they post something and they get like 50 to 100 likes from their friends. I think it's not that I'm fully opposed against that and the quote unquote dishonesty of that, is that I think it can be automated through AIs, right? So that is one. Second, I've seen like one of these LinkedIn guru get banned not so long ago. Three, I'm getting quite good at getting attention on LinkedIn. For LinkedIn content is free, right? So if I can leave someone with the knowledge that I have, they can self-monetize without paying ads. So I think that's beautiful. And I've always been bullish on LinkedIn the past 3 years. So that is the why. Time management and balance. Yeah, you can't build a world in one fucking day. So like me, I start my day walking the dogs. Right now, I'm walking on a treadmill. I exercise heavily on a daily basis. So that's why you need to go with your motivation and your flow. You need to go where your brain wants to go. You don't force that on you. I have a general calendar that I can show you, by the way, to answer that question directly. So let's see here. So that is this week. So Zli is like just random blocking times. I want to have my mornings off to go into deep work, quote unquote. And then there's a bunch of micro tickets. My brain does well with complexity, right? I've done most of these, by the way, so there needs to be some cleanup. I have some podcasts and the late interview and so forth. And I finish at like 5 p.m. So arguably it's like 7 to 8 hour days. Then I come back to my desk like after the supper sometimes. Sometimes I'm gonna work on weekends, etc. So yeah, it's a pretty good life, and it depends on how your brain is thinking. Some of you might look at this calendar and be like, "Holy fucking shit, this is crazy." My brain is fully comfortable with that, and most of these people wouldn't know what to do with $1 billion. Like you just don't appreciate the beauty in the extreme. Um, it depends on the brain that you have as well. If you want to keep it simple and want something easy, then this might not be for you. But for a high performer, all these tickets, the opportunity to get better, right? So that's my schedule. And how I split time, like I said, I go with the flow. I put items in there so that my subconscious, my rational self sort of knows that there's something in there. But I mostly let my guts decide what we're gonna spend time on. So, advice for aspiring entrepreneurs and what you should do differently. I don't think you should do it different. I'm very biased in the sense that I've been doing it that way and it's been really much fitting my lifestyle. But I think there's a lot of people that burn out out there. And by burnout, I mean they get like mentally injured from the sport of entrepreneurship. Some of them even go to accept jobs, and that makes you like not a real entrepreneur. A real entrepreneur is someone that cannot live without entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not a fancy medal that you show to people. It's a lifestyle, something that propels you from your deepest core. So, me, for example, I couldn't live without entrepreneurship. If you ask me what I am, I'm a founder first. I'm an entrepreneur first. That doesn't mean that I'm a hyper capitalist, although you could argue that I am, but it means that the freedom that this gives me, the creativity that this gives me, the energy, the connection, the knowledge, the scalability, right? What could I don't know what else I could do. Like I could be an athlete. That would probably be my second choice, but down there in the list and separate very toxic version of myself would probably be an addict, or someone chasing vanity. That was the life that I was headed for back then. It was like always partying and chasing serotonin and easy pleasures, the hedonic lifestyle. I would argue that the best way to scale a life is actually to start a business and really change your mindset. It really improves you as a human being. It makes you into something that you couldn't be if you had different choices in life. I believe being an employee is lazy. It's a dishonest game because you're like counting on someone to pay you a fixed quantity of money for bullshit most of the time. And I think AIs are gonna replace all the bullshitters out there. So yeah, if you want to become something better, something more ethical, something more valuable to society, like starting a business is the best way, and this will scale in the age of AI. And I would also argue that yes, being a serial entrepreneur is the best path moving forward, the most scalable path. It's the most anti-fragile path. You have the least odds of failure, right? Because in COVID, and I should have probably mentioned, I had to close a couple of other of my businesses officially. And then what I do, panic set in, and when panic set in, you're losing important energy tokens and motivation tokens. So what one should do is have multiple businesses, not necessarily put resources and big investments in each, but have plan Bs and plan Cs. I'm about burning the boats, trust me, but if you're fucked and if you're getting attacked on your island, you need to have some sort of plan, like, oh, retreat up the mountain, or, oh, let's build a raft and go to that island. And yeah, you don't want to be caught naked and unprepared. So serial entrepreneurship, having a couple of businesses that are mostly interrelated, for example, me in the B2B realm, the health realm, is something I would recommend. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Leave any comments if you had some.